You're terrible.
You terrible.
You're terrible.
You terrible.
So we've got that dark L happening here, right? Again, the dark L is kind of like the L sound that you know, like la la la, right? Except you hold your tongue in the L position and you let the air go around your tongue like this. Oh, 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 right? That's the dark L. So in this word, it's terrible. You're saying in this recording sounds more like terrible, terrible. Can you see the difference? Terrible. You're making more of an O sound. It sounds very different to English-speaking ears. So again, try to make the L sound. Oh, and let's say terrible. Good. Hey, I mean, what can I say?
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 Hey, I mean, what can I say? Versus, hey, I mean, what can I say? Right? You hear the difference? This part, pay attention to the intonation and also how it's connected to the emotion. So think about this guy, Matt. He's saying, hey, what can I say? He's like, come on, I don't know. What can I say? I mean, he doesn't really care, right? He's just being like, I don't know. Hey, what can I say? Your version sounds more like, hey, what can I say? Which is like he's asking, like, what can I say? Tell me. Put yourself in the mind of this person, right? He's going, hey, what can I say? He's a helpful dude.
He's a helpful dude.
He's a helpful dude.
He's a helpful dude.
There's a difference in the way you're pronouncing the end part. See if you can hear the difference between dude and do. Can you hear it? He's a helpful dude. He's a helpful dude. The first version, it cuts off, right? The second version, it just goes out. Do. So it's not do like do something, that do, right? It's dude. It's actually D-U-D-E. You might expect it to be dude, right? He's a helpful dude. But it's not said that way. It's dude. What am I doing? I'm going like I'm gonna say dude, but I just don't add the d at the end. Instead, it just kind of comes to a stop. Dude. 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 Can you hear that? Dude. Now there's a guy.
Now there's a guy.
Now there's a guy.
Now there's a guy.
So this part, actually, you did the second time much better than the first. I think you can hear it, right? There's this, there's a guy, there, right? There. It's not, now there's a guy. The first time it was kind of like, now there's a guy. It's really there's a guy, right? Now there's a guy who doesn't know how to say no.
You don't know how to say no.
Who doesn't know how to say no.
You don't know how to say no.
This one's a little tricky because it's a lot of sounds put together, right? So I'll say it a little slower for you. Who doesn't know how to say no? Who doesn't know how to say no? And I'll give you a little trick for this one because it's kind of a longer phrase. If you start from the end and work backwards to the beginning, it'll be a little easier. So let's start at the end. Say no. Say no. The say no. The say no. How to say no. How to, right? How to say no. How to say no. Doesn't know how to say no. Doesn't know how to say no. Doesn't know how to say no. Who doesn't know how to say no? Who doesn't know how to say no? Also pay attention to the intonation. The way you're saying it sounds like doesn't know how to say no. But the original is doesn't know how to say no, right? It's a little different. Reminds me of a certain...
Tomorrow is a certain.
Reminds me of a certain...
Tomorrow is a certain.
Okay, this is another one that's a little tricky, so I'm going to break it down again and try to copy me. So slower, it's reminds me of a certain... There's that, right, that we practiced last Sunday. Certain, of a certain, me of a certain, minds me of a certain, minds me of a certain, reminds me of a certain, reminds me of a certain other individual,
Other individual.
other individual.
Other individual.
Intonation's different here, right? The original intonation is other individual, other individual, other individual. You're saying it other individual, other individual. You heard the difference? Other individual, da 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 da. Versus yours, other individual, da 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 da. I'm starting to think maybe the challenge is that the echo file I'm giving you is a little bit too fast with the repetitions. You sometimes need some time just to practice on your own, right? You're making sounds that you're not used to making, and sometimes you need time to kind of to play with it, to try different things, to get a feel for it, right? So I'm going to recommend that you, as you're practicing, don't be afraid to pause the file, right? You listen to a sound and practice many times. I'll give you an example what I mean. So let's say I'm listening to this. Reminds me of a certain. Okay, hit pause and then reminds me of a certain, 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 like that. You can try it again and again, right? You've listened to this enough times, you should be able to hear it pretty well in your mind, even if you're not playing it again and again every time, right? Listen to the way it sounds in your mind and see if you can practice making those sounds with your mouth on your own.